And welcome back to part 3 of how not to get divorced during lockdown. Part 3 is basically just bringing everything back together. In part 1 we spoke about setting foundations, setting rules, setting out expectation versus expectation versus reality, fantasy versus what's actually happening. In part 2 we started talking about how to deal with those frustrations, how you can actually manage them, how you can address them without the atomic bomb going off.
And the introspection.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting with self. Not something we always want to hear, but a lot of times the problem lies here before it lies there. Okay. Somehow I felt like more fingers were pointing my way.
But you're always the problem, love.
Okay. Moving on swiftly to just a few practical suggestions. So now you've done all those things, but you're still getting frustrated. There's still things irritating you. Do you know what? Maybe it's time you sit down and you redefine some of those duties, some of those rules, some of those expectations. Reevaluate what's going, because maybe you're up front 2 weeks ago you were happy doing the dishes every day, but now you're not anymore. Now it's become a chore, and now you're so sick of doing it because it feels like everyone's cooking all the time, and there's always
the
dishes.
dishwasher all the time,
like non-stop. Those things. So maybe you just want to reevaluate those things. And also, I mean, there's an expectation that you had and you based your rules according to that, and now reality has set in, so it might be slightly different. So don't be afraid to go back and have that sit down and say, listen here, this isn't working for me. Let's just re-look at it. Let's play around with these rules. Let's play around with these tasks, because it's not written in stone. If you're not flexible, if you're not flexible in your relationship, you're going to hit a roadblock. You're definitely going to hit. If it's all about rules and rules can't be broken and can't be moved, and that, you're going to hit a roadblock. It's great to have boundaries in place, but don't go and be so stringent like the army on those rules, because what worked today may not work tomorrow.
What happens in an environment where neither spouses like rules, or neither spouses like boundaries, or they're not used to setting up rules and boundaries, and it's a very free home? And now the irritation comes. Or on the other hand is both spouses love rules, but they like it their way.
This is why you need to discuss it. Do you know what my personal opinion is? If you don't have boundaries, you can't be happy, because then you don't know when you're doing something right and you don't know when you're doing something wrong.
I always talk about boundaries in business.
Yes.
I train a lot about boundaries. And boundaries, when somebody says boundary, initially you would think it's a negative thing, but it's not a negative thing.
Absolutely not.
You look at a boundary in any sports game, or most of them anyway, baseball that you play.
Yes.
When you're hitting the ball out of the boundary, you're actually scoring more points, aren't you? You're getting more time.
Yes, if you hit a home run.
It's a home run.
Yeah.
It's out of the boundaries.
Yes.
Cricket's the same. You hit a 6.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. So boundaries are good. Boundaries are positive, and I think we need to change our mindsets in terms of boundaries. So if you're making it a positive thing, you're looking at me very strange.
No, I'm just fascinated that you're talking sports.
Because there is no sports for you to watch.
Exactly. So you're just filling my mind with these. Got it.
I'm being loving, love.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So boundaries are good. Boundaries are really good, but they need to be defined. So if you're a couple that don't like boundaries, I think it's time you start instilling them. And if you like boundaries too much, I think you need to start letting some of those boundaries go. Too stringent boundaries, anything with a 2 in front of it, my mother used to always say, is not good.
Yeah.
And when it is non-existent, it's also not good. So we need to find that balance.
Too much, too little. Both big issues around this. So define those, re-look at them if you need to, if there's still things bugging you. All right. Then what you also need to do is you need to focus on each other's strengths.
Yeah, big time.
The reality is we naturally tend to focus on people's negative traits, which isn't good. which isn't positive, that's not uplifting at all. But if we can get to a point where we're focusing, we're looking so hard for what my spouse, what my partner is doing right, we're not going to be looking for what they're doing wrong. And that's where you want to be. You want to be in a place where you're saying, wow, you did this and this and this right today. Instead of saying, oh my, you did this and this and this wrong today.
It's back to the mindset.
There we go.
Changing the mindset.
Absolutely. Change your mindset. Start there. And when you change your mindset, your spouse will change theirs, and the entire family will change their set. The thing is, we also need to work towards each other's strengths. If my strength is washing dishes, why would Lundy insist on dry dishes? She'd say, hey, you wash the dishes, I'll dry them. Because you want to work into each other's strengths. And normally when I'm doing something that I'm good at, I enjoy it because I'm not struggling to do it.
Don't we do this in our work environment?
Absolutely.
We do this. Why can't we bring it into home?
No, because in home there's a bit more selfishness.
Of course there is.
There's more I.
It's my way.
Yeah, there's iPhone, there's iPad, there's iMac, there's all these eyes in the house. So maybe you must get rid of a few of the eyes, and it needs to become more we.
Yeah. And I think this is quite a good one, because then you can start looking at what your spouse's strengths actually are.
Yeah.
How often do you not know? I mean, in reality, on a normal day, you only see your spouse, in the evenings and quickly in the morning. How much time do you actually have to start seeing what their strengths are? What an amazing opportunity to start uncovering some of those.
Absolutely.
And when you uncover them is to show gratitude. Say thank you.
Thank you properly. Look them in the eye. Say, I want to appreciate you for this that you're doing. And when you do this, it makes me feel happy. It makes me feel fulfilled. It makes me feel part of. It makes me feel like I'm a child again. Whatever the case is, thank you for doing this. And when you do that, it makes me feel. All right, very important. Put that emotion behind it, because that makes it more real.
The people in the know say that it takes 7 appreciations to squash out 1 negative.
Yes.
Quite hectic stats.
That I can well believe, because if you're saying to me well done once, but you're saying to me not well done or terrible job once, I can tell you what, the only one I'm going to remember is when you told me terrible job.
Yeah.
So I can understand very well the 7-to-1 ratio.
And for people with kids, it's so easy to fall into the trap of no, don't do that. It's the no all the time. Maybe change your mindset to the kids in the house and begin looking for the good things and shower them with positive things as opposed to negative things. And you'll see how your attitude begins to change when you start being a bit more positive. And for the moms and the wives out there, it's your responsibility to change the atmosphere in the home. It's the father's responsibility to discipline. So maybe if you focus on your inherent strengths as in the role of husband and wife, the husband is there to discipline, and the wife is there to create the atmosphere. If you focus on those, it makes life a lot easier.
Yeah. Let's just talk about discipline quickly. Discipline can also be done in a positive way. All right. We in no way support abuse of any kind. And I'm very against men abusing their strength or their power. So I can tell you this, in my home, there's discipline, but there's discipline because of the authority that's carried in the home. And part of that authority helps create the good atmosphere that's in the home.
There's a lot of men we've been seeing with couples that they feel that the woman takes the control, and then they back off. Perhaps now is the perfect opportunity for the man to actually step into his role and to be the man in the home.
Yes. If you are having difficulties with that, definitely give us a shout. I love talking to men about the position in their home, about the authority that they carry, about that has been given to them specifically as a man. Lundy loves talking to the woman from a woman's perspective, but definitely give us a shout. Let's have a talk about it. All right, moving along swiftly. The next thing that you want to put into place is routine, a structure, waking up, having a shower or a bath, setting up specific times for work, setting up specific times for the kids to sit with the kids and do something, setting up specific meal times. Routine brings safety. Routine brings that sense of security into any home. If it's very willy-nilly and it's like, when are we going to eat? I'm hungry. There's no routine. It just adds to whining. It adds to all the negativity that flows in. But your children, if they know 1 o'clock is lunchtime, they're not going to tell you at 12 o'clock, oh, Mom, when are we eating? You know, all you're going to say is lunch is at 1.
1 o'clock.
End of story. That's how it finishes. So those kind of things, put them into place. Bring your household into the discipline of a routine. That creates structure. It just brings you back to what you are used to and what you know. It's very nice for a day or two. When lockdown started, the very first day, Lundy and I spent the whole day and we did nothing. It was so really nice. Cool. But then we needed to get into a routine. Then we needed to get up, we needed to shower, we needed to allocate times. What it also gives is your work time is scheduled in your diary, so your work time is your work time, and you're not feeling guilty that you're not spending the time with the kids. Likewise, the time with the kids is scheduled in your diary, and you're not feeling guilty that you're not doing work. So you're fully engaged in the task that's at hand, because you know and they know, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your kids, whoever's in that home with you, they know that there is a defined time for them, and they're not going to get the short end of the stick.
Now, if you're cooped up with a workaholic, or for those of us that are still working, I know I am, not so much, but it becomes, the days become one. So you're almost working all the time, and for me that gets stuck into something, I find it very difficult to say, okay, well, this is time to stop now. So when you have a defined time that you're doing certain things, it makes your brain function a certain way. So yeah, I totally agree with that one.
Fantastic. And then last but not least, what you might want to do is create separate areas in your home. Areas, set up an office station. So that when you are there, you feel like you're in the office. Everyone can see you in the office. Set up chill areas, work areas, exercise areas, break areas, whatever the case. It sets your mind. It just gives you a break from that, I'm stuck in this. You know, even if you are in a 1-bedroom house, you know, just corner off the area somehow. Break it up so that it can feel, I am now getting up. Don't sit behind your laptop eating. Get up, go sit at a table or in the kitchen or whatever and eat there. Get up, take your mind off of that mundane, single-sided, single chair, single area. Sit in a different chair for different functions if you're so limited in time, in space. But for each one, just break it up a bit.
There's another thing that I just want to mention here is when you get up in the morning, for the ladies, is get dressed. For the men as well.
Yes.
Is get dressed. I mean, when we walk around with slippers now because we don't need the shoes, but it's get dressed and wear something new every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't
self-pride.
Yeah. Don't become a slob.
Yeah.
Don't let yourself go. As much fun as what it might have sounded, mentally, it's not good for you. It sets your mind in a rut, and when you have to get back to work after this 21 days, if not longer or shorter or whatever the case is, but when you need to get back, you're going to find it very difficult to get back into those routines.
It takes 21 days to set a new habit or to break a habit. So you want to be very careful what habits you're instilling now that are good habits, that are healthy habits, and avoid the negative ones.
Absolutely. And with that, thank you very much for joining us. You can reach us
either on our Facebook page, Doing Marriage with Henry and Lundy, or you can email us at doingmarriagewithhl@gmail.com, or just pop a message at the bottom of this video.
Yeah, thank you very much.